repeat. Then you finish the class, all of it, just rush. Hereafter have some questions also. I was expecting, see, not in the middle of the class. After the class, but questions relevant, isn't it? Even if you don't have questions, whoever asks questions also can benefit from that. Yeah, but everybody should, but if you have, you can feel free to.
Question comes there and then it disappears. I had a question, now it's gone.
Okay.
Write it down.
Look at this. That is Vedanta, isn't it?
Living in the present.
Ajate strasatam tesham upalambhadviyanti ye jati doshana setsyanti दोषोऽप्यल्पो भविष्यति Being ignorant is very natural. And it is a common human problem. It is not only some people. Therefore, ignorance caused delusion is also very natural. Therefore, delusion caused erroneous perception. Is also mistaking the non-real for reality is also very natural. Therefore, depending upon the non-real world, mistaking it for reality, for one security is also very natural. So nothing unnatural here. But still, being dependent upon the world for security and happiness also, one continues to be insecure, then that is where the question comes, where is the security? Research comes. Then the Upanishad teaches what? There is no security. The world is neither the source of insecurity nor is it the source of security, because the world is not there really. It is the knowledge of the truth which is the only means. Knowledge of the truth is the only means. Ekaiva margaha. Only means is what? Knowledge. Therefore, Upanishad gives you the vision of the truth. But the wake out vision of the truth, the fact you arrive at is there is no Jagat, there is no Jiva, only the reality Brahman. All that is there is only Brahma. But this, when you say all that is there is only Brahma, you are not there, is a very frightening thing. You know why? Because one has to lose one's own identity. It is little frightening for the people who are not prepared, not yet emotionally ready. So people who are not yet emotionally stable, intellectually sharp, which means who are still unprepared, for them it is a very frightening thing. Therefore, in order to help them, you need something, you need to lean on something. Like when there is a tender, delicate creeper which cannot stand by itself, as long as the stem is very, very thin, you need to put a stick to lean on. When the stem becomes stronger, then you can remove this. Isn't it? The same way here also. As long as you're emotionally very, very weak, emotionally not strong, you need to hold on to something. Therefore, the Upanishad says what? When it starts teaching, it says as there is the Jagat. The Jagat is come into existence from that. And then Adhyaropa Apavada Prakriya. Very Prakriya is the method of unfoldment of itself, the nature of reality, the Brahman. That method itself is introduced here as what? This is called Karanakarya Prakriya, Srishti Prakriya, Adhyaropa Apavada Prakriya. All these words are used to mean there's only one Prakriya. Where there is Jagat. There is Jagat means what? This Jagat is a Karyam. When you say this is superimposition of what? The status of the universe being the creation. Created. The universe being effect. The status attributed to the universe. This universe is a product. It's a Karya means what? The status is attributed. This is what we say Adhyaropa. Then, okay, if the universe is creation, this is the universe which is creation, where has it come from? Then you say what? Brahma Karanam. It has come from Brahman. Then it is second step of attribution. Isn't it? You attribute the status of being the cause of this universe. Isn't it? You do what? Brahman. So Brahman is given the status of being the cause of this universe. Then it is Adhyaropa. Thereafter you say what? When you see if the whole universe is the product of Brahman, it is the Karyam, Brahman is Karanam, then you understand between the cause and the cause and the effect, there is no sambandha, connection is not there, relationship is not possible because they are not two, substantially one, even though conditionally they are two, substantially one. When you resolve, then you say the whole universe is Brahman. When you say, you take what? Universe being the effect. The status of being the effect attributed to the Jagat, you take it away. There is negation. There afterwards you say what? There's only Brahman means. The effect itself is not there. Where is the question of Brahman enjoying the status of being the cause? Therefore, you remove the causal status attributed to Brahman also. And finally you say, there is no Karanam, there is no Karyam, there is no cause or effect. What is there is only Brahma. Not two. They are not two. Consciousness, Brahman, and Jagat, the matter, are not two. They are not one also. Are they one? They are not one. Why? Water is not the ocean. Therefore, they are not one. But what is ocean? Ocean is water. Therefore, what? They are not two. They are neither one nor two. They are non-dual, secondless reality. They are not two. Therefore, we say what? Non-dual, secondless reality. Similarly, Brahman is not the Jagat. Therefore, what? Brahman is distinct from Jagat. Consciousness is distinct from the universe. Therefore, they are not one. But what is Jagat? Jagat has no independent existence outside of consciousness. Universe is consciousness. Jagat is consciousness. Therefore, we say what? They are not two. Therefore, there is only Advayam, Advitiyam, Brahma Chaitanyam. Ekam, Advayam, Advitiyam, Brahma. Only secondless, non-dual reality Brahman. Even though this is the fact revealed by the Upanishad itself, Veda Shastra itself, initially introduces the Brahman as the Karanam, introduces the creation. Why? Because so that it will be easy for the emotionally weak people to become stronger and steadier. So now he says, suppose when such thing is introduced by the Shastram, when you talk about the creation, you have to talk about the creator. When the universe introduces the creation, the creator also is introduced. And who is the creator? We give it a status as God, Lord, creator of this universe is God. There is no real creator other than the truth. There is no creation other than the truth. In fact, there is neither creator nor created, there is only the truth. Isn't it? Therefore, the creator is introduced, then we are asked to, isn't it? When we are taught from childhood to worship, suppose whatever, all the people of different cultures, all of us were taught to worship and pray. Doesn't matter how we worship, what we worship, who is the God we are worshipping, that may be different, but still that worship is something which has been introduced. Worship is there. Veda Shastram introduces. But in the long run, what happens? Even though this the Ishvara, worship, prayer, the creation, all these things, even though they're all mithya, still Upanishad introduces, Upanishad prescribes for the sake of our own emotional growth, intellectual growth of a sharpness, so that we will be prepared enough to understand the much subtler teaching and fact, and to be able to accept the fact as a fact, isn't it? Thereby we be most mature people, we become the mature people. So this Shruti also introduces, it's like giving us, it is like any doctor giving us the antibiotics. Sometimes some microbes, minute, the bacteria, such things, they have to be destroyed. Means this doctor has to prescribe very, very strong antibiotics. What choice does the doctor have to help you get rid of your bacteria from the body? No way. Antibiotics. But those antibiotics definitely create what? Some side effects. But doctor knows it will cause some side effects. Knowing the side effects also, to help to save the person's life, sometimes the doctors have to prescribe you antibiotics. Similarly here also, Upanishad knows, if we introduce this Ishvara concept, introduce Bhagavan, Ishvara, the creation, Devatas, worship, prayer, etc., it will cause some side effects. And those effects are not really desirable, but still doesn't matter. Antibiotics will save the person. Otherwise she'll go mad completely. Upanishad also what now? Introduces them. When the antibiotics, give side effects are there, similarly, when the universe is discussed by the Upanishad itself, Ishvara is introduced, worship is introduced, yajnas and rituals are prescribed in the whole Karma Kanda. Upanishad says, come on, do this yajna, get this benefit, go to Swargaloka, you can see all the, enjoy the heavenly pleasures. Upanishad itself encourages, means, and then how can we say, why should Upanishad talk about the Swargaloka, heavenly pleasures and all that if it is not real? No, that's such. So, introduces, and we get so engrossed in that, then finally what happens? We get so entangled with the forms we worship. That is the side effect, okay? What happens? It is difficult to, overcome the attachment to the forms we worship, the forms of worship, the cultural forms. They're very important, cultural forms are very important, but still we should know the advantages, we should know the limitation of it. We hold on to that. It's difficult to get over there. Even great saint like Tyagaraja Swami, when he was great saint, his knowledge of music was amazing. The nuances, he himself was a discoverer of many ragas. Such a great Mahatma, but he was worshipping on Rama's Murti, and when he got lost, he really was so shattered by that, because emotionally The attachment to the Murti, Rama's form, Murti he was worshipping, he was so much attached to that. Initially, later on he overcame that. That's a different thing. Suppose sometimes all of us get attached to the forms we worship. People go all the way back to Vayalur to worship Murugan. Locally Murugan is available. But still book the flight ticket and go back to Vayalur now. That Murugan only I have to worship, not this local Murugan. No, once in a while it's okay. I go here, but still, how can I not go to Vayalur Murugan? Because from childhood I used to go there, visit there. Kadirhamat Murugan. Now people want to go. Why? Because that is how the worship is so important. Without the worship, without the prayer, without Navagraha Pradakshinam, without all of them, we would have all gone mad, really. Why? Because they help us when all difficult times come in life. Of course, life will be not only for the roses, there will be definitely thorns also. Then we go to the astrology, consult the astrologers, talk to the astrologers, they say some parihara pujas, go to this temple, do this pariharam, and go to Navagraha, do Navagraha Pradakshina. All those things help you from becoming absolutely totally insane. Because some hope you manage, hope, have hope for a better life, and you manage. Which means what? When the bad time goes, you overcome it. You have not gone mad. Isn't it? It's always, instead of making you, Upanishad wants to make you absolutely normally normal person. We are now normally abnormal. We would have become abnormally abnormal. In order to prevent us from becoming abnormally abnormal, in order to make us normally normal, Upanishad introduces all these things. Understand? So holding on to these things, somehow we manage, and finally what? And there will be a time, Nadan Sayum, Kodan Sayum, then he can sing. So we have to go. Then only after Sarvam Brahma you can sing that, they sing that. Where is that? All those things, you don't need to have all that. It's easy to do those things. Now what I'm saying here, that is why Ajatehe Trasatam. Only for such people who cannot handle the fact that there's nothing is here, only Brahman is here. Nothing is, but not nothing is. Now we are Shunyavadis, okay? When you say there is no Jagat, there is nothing, you are also not there. There is only Brahma. Therefore, very frightening. It's not easy. Therefore, Upanishad introduces. This is the answer given by Gaudapada Acharya. And just see what he says here. And so they get hold. What now? They become emotionally entangled with the forms of worship, entangled with the universe also. Why Upanishad introduces? One of the reasons he gives here. Ajatehe trasatam tesham. Okay, these people, Viyanti means they always argue against. No, they always, they're Viruddham Yanti. Viyanti means they always talk against. About what? Against this non-creation, the topic of non-creation. If we say there's no creation, they always argue against you, saying what? There is creation, creation is real. For them it's so strong in their view that creation is real. And such people, because if you say there's no recreation, what will they hold on to? Nothing to hold on to. Nothing they can feel secure about, isn't it? Therefore, for such people alone, this topic of creation is introduced. Even the worship, Ishvara, etc. have been introduced. But what they do cause some defects. They have some defects. The introduction of the topic of creation causes the defect means what? What is the consequence? They emotionally get entangled with the universe. The emotional entanglement with the universe means it is difficult to shift the dependence. It is difficult to shift the dependence from Bhagavan. I've been worshipping Savior, Protector, I am saved, I am protected. That we always, even the worshipper, devotee, deity relationship is very, very, the different ways of worshipping Bhagavan also. Worshipping Bhagavan as father or mother. See, emotionally we relate to Bhagavan also in whatever way we want to. Like that, Bhagavan is a friend for some people. Bhagavan is like a mother for some people. Bhagavan is like a father for some people. Like some elderly person. Emotionally they become very attached, means they need. But later on what happens, that attachment to worship and form, worship and the murtis and Jagat also becomes a big obstacle sometimes in attaining the vision of the oneness of the truth. Because this duality comes. I am the worshipper, Lord is the worshipped. Isn't it? Even though you are not dependent on the world for it, still what now? The world has been replaced by the Lord now. Now your dependence, you are still dependent. You are still not independent. You have shifted the dependence from the world to Bhagavan, but still you are dependent. You are not independent. You are still bound. And there is duality is there. That is what is the defect caused by the introduction of the universe and the Ishvara Upanishad. Jati doshaha. Here Gaudapada Acharya calls it Jati doshaha. Jati doshaha means the defect of, the introduction of the topic of creation. Introduction of Ishvara, causes this defect. What is the defect? Emotional entanglement, dependence, isn't it? Still there is no independence. That is the defect. So, but even though they are defective, even though the topic of creation introduced is defective, causes some defects, even though it results in emotional entanglement with the Ishvara and all that, still na setsyanti. These problems will not last forever. Slowly, when you come to Mandukya Upanishad, and you will grow out of that also, attachment also. What is that? Yes. You resolve Ishvara in Brahma. Everything is Ishvara. First you say everything is Bhagavan, Ishvara, then everything is Brahman. Therefore Ishvara is also Brahman. Slowly it is all Ishvara. Isn't it? It's okay. Even though they have some defects, still it is okay, because in the long run, the continuous study will help you overcome that emotional entanglement with the Murtis and Bhagavan, the Lord, creation, everything. In fact, our emotional dependence on children, family, everything will slowly resolve. When it resolves, it does not mean you become like a stone. In fact, you will be the most expressive person of love. There will be expression of fullness all the time. There will be only love. That itself is different. That is different. Expression of fullness is love. The person who is reveling in fullness his expression will be what? Only of love. Therefore, there's concern and affection will be there, care will be there, but still you are emotionally, absolutely independent. An emotionally free person. Isn't it? Therefore, doshaha api alpaha bhavishyati. That defect also, whatever defect is caused by this, the topic of creation introduced in the Shastram, in the Ishvara, etc., all of them will slowly resolve. Understand? Next. Upalambat samacharan Maya hasti yatochyate Upalambat samacharat Asti vastu tathochyate Here Gaudapada Acharya introduces, with this verse I'll stop, then we continue. Introduces the magician's magic. He compares the world to the magician's creation. And he talks about the hasti. Hasti means elephant. Tumbikayan. Hastaha means, the trunk is called hasta. Okay? Hasti means elephant here. Maya hasti means, it's not the Maya here in Vedanta. Maya hasti means the magician's, the elephant created by the magician. How? Using his magical skill, isn't it? Magician's skill, trick is called Maya hasti. The Maya, suppose imagine if there is a magician who is showing the magic show, and there suddenly he presents in front of you an elephant. We would have seen so many other small things, no? The magician comes and takes one hat and he shows both the hats like this. We see definitely he shows very closely, there's nothing is inside the hat. And from he put both the hats together, he takes them, and from there, oh my God, pigeons go and all the birds fly. Such magic show we all would have seen. I never saw elephant. Okay, but here Gaudapada says what? The magician here, he in his show, he brings in your friend, brings there in the show, he big elephant. And then you see, my God, what a huge animal that is, a big animal, elephant, and it is real for you. You can't believe it is not real. But you know, after the show, there was no real elephant. Even while watching the show also, you may not, if you're a mature person. Children may not. Children will be, for them it is real. They're so, my God, how this magician brought this elephant to the stage, you will be wondering. But you know very well, it is some trick. Maya hasti yatha, just as the magicians, the magical elephant is what? Here, upalambat samacharat, because it is experienced by you. The magician's elephant also is what? It is experienced by you. Upalambat samacharat, and some trick is involved there. Isn't it? Something is involved. Because of that, this elephant shown or seen in the magic show is very mistaken as reality. Similarly, he says, Upalambat samacharat asti vastu tathochyate. Because of the orderliness involved in this function of the Jagat, and because of its being available for experience, this Jagat is mistaken to be the reality. Why do we, when we are watching the magic show, how do we think whatever is produced by the magician is real? It looks like real. It looks very real for us because we are experiencing it. The same way, this Jagat also is experienced, therefore it is this, because the whole functioning within the realm of the order, it is mistaken to be the reality. This is the verse. Only one thing I will say tell you. Jatya bhasam chala bhasam vastva bhasam Namavastutvam
Ajachalamavastutvam
Vijnanam Shantamadvayam.
Vijnanam Shantamadvayam.
Okay. See, Jati, learn these three words. Jati Abhasaha, Chala Abhasaha, Vastu Abhasaha. Abhasaha means appearance. Jati Abhasaha means appearance of creation, as though there is creation. Like when you see the waves, there is the origination of the waves. It looks, when you see the waves in the ocean, it looks as though the waves are, there is origination of the waves, creation of the waves, emergence of the waves. Then, Vastu Abhasaha. Then the waves which have originated, which have come into existence, continue to exist for some time, isn't it? That's what existence, appearance of the origination or creation, appearance of the existence of the creation. Then afterwards what? The waves go back and dissolve. There is appearance of the dissolution of the waves. In the ocean we see. Similarly here, this Jati Abhasaha means appearance of the creation and appearance of the existence of this universe, appearance of the dissolution of the universe. As though the universe originates, as though the universe exists, and as though the universe resolves. It's only Abhasaha, it's only appearance. We do see waves come, waves remain, waves resolve. Waves come, waves exist, waves resolve. This coming into existence, then remaining existent, then resolving. What is this? It's happening or not? It is happening. It is happening. No. Shastram says what? It only is appearance. Therefore, it's all only, there's no real creation. Nothing has originated. Therefore, nothing is sustained, and nothing really resolves also. Something must have come into existence for something to resolve. What has originated for something to go back and resolve? It's all only appearance. Therefore, we give what? We say there is Ishvara, and from whom the Lord, from whom the universe has come into existence, the one by whom the universe is sustained, the one in whom the universe resolves, Trinity. And we give the Lord as what? 3 different names for the only Lord. 3 different functional names as what? Creator. Only Lord is given 3 different functional names. Creator of the universe, sustainer of the universe, one in whom everything resolves. Isn't it? We give 3 different names also, which means we say there is, universe is created, universe is sustained, and universe is resolved. It's only appearance. Jati Abhasaha. And then Chala Abhasaha means what? Coming and going is called Chala Abhasaha, dissolution. Vastu Abhasaha means existence. Appearance of the creation of the universe, appearance of the existence of the universe, appearance of the resolution of the universe. Understand? It all appears. Really speaking, Aja Achalam, Aja Achalam, Aja Achalam, Avastutvam. Really speaking, from the all that is there is uncreated, non-creating consciousness. And then achalam, unmoving, all pervasive, unmoving, immovable, all pervasive, unbound, non-creating consciousness. There is no, it's only appearance. For the whole Jagat is what? This. Wish you all the best, baby. Om. We all wish you the best. He's going to the university, first time leaving the home to stay alone in her hostel with his daughter. First time she's going from home to stay in the hostel. So this is what the whole universe, for us all the movements are real, all the emotions are real. Isn't it? Time is real, space is real, all the changes and movements and motions which are happening are real. Is this universe seems to have been created, seems to be now sustained, and the universe seems to be, appears to be resolved. It is really speaking, there is no creation, there is no existence, there is no sustenance, there is no dissolution of it. There is only unmoving, unchanging, unchangeable, immovable, uncreated, non-creating consciousness. Okay? What is that? Vijnanam, Advayam, Shantam. All the noises are real. Do you think? All the noises you hear, sounds you hear are real? Isn't it? In fact, the consciousness which is of the nature of silence is the only reality. All the noises are not outside of consciousness, the silence. We should not even say the silent consciousness. Which means you will say there's a noisy consciousness, isn't it? Yeah. Therefore, consciousness itself is what? The silence. Shantam, Advayam, the non-dual, secondless consciousness which is of the nature of silence and which does not originate, does not create, does not come into existence, does not go, and this consciousness alone is here. All this origination, existence and dissolution of the universe is only seeming, apparent reality. It is not really, it is not there. It is only Satyam Brahma. We'll continue this particular verse again. Jatya bhasaha, chala bhasaha, vastu abhasaha. This we'll see again next class. Okay? And then there's an announcement for all of you. I am going to do Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter Jnana Yajna here. Actually, it's a program to be done for the Ilford students. But I'm going to do the live streaming from here. So I'll be doing from Monday to next Monday, evening 7:30 to 9 here, in the same place. So whoever feels